Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel. Today I'm going to deal with a Bible share called Does God Hate the Sin but Not the Sinner? So, very often you hear people saying, God hates the sin but not the sinner, especially Christians. God hates the sin. He doesn't really hate the sinner. He's love. He's love. He can never. It's impossible for him to hate. He can never hate anybody. It's impossible. He's God. No, this is foolishness, right? This is utter foolishness because the Bible doesn't teach that. You know, God is not just one spirit, one emotion, right? He's a variety of emotions, the same emotions he gives to human beings, right? So he's not just a nicey God, sweetie God that's going to give you everything that you desire. No, you know, he only blesses obedience, right? He only blesses obedience. So let's go to Proverbs 6 and we're going to go from 16 to 21. So basically what we're going to prove is that the Lord hates the sinner and the sin. He hates both, right? He doesn't just hate the sin and hates the sinner and doesn't hate the sinner, right? So let's go to Proverbs 6 and we're going to read from 16 to 21. These 6 things doeth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are abomination unto him. A proud look, so the Lord hates a proud look. A lying tongue, so he doesn't like it when you lie. Hands that shed innocent blood, so if you kill people for no reason, right? Abortion, or you just, you know, one of those crazy American cops that, you know, just like it, they can't wait to kill a black man. You know, overindulging on their power, right? They just cannot wait to kill a black man. If you're one of those cops in America whereby you shoot first and then you ask questions later when you killed people, you know, the Lord hates that. You know, he hates black on black crime. He hates black people killing black people, and he hates abortion. You know, he hates babies being murdered in a black woman's tummy. He hates it, right? So he hates hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked imagination. So you're basically, you're sitting at home or sitting wherever you are and you're thinking, oh, how can I get back at someone? You know, I'm going to do this. I'm really jealous at someone because someone is successful and I'm not. So what do I do to get back at them? What do I do to compete with them? What do I do to hinder their success? You know, those kind of things the Lord hates. If your husband is telling you as a wife what to do in the home, which is his job, he has to tell you what to do because he's the head of the home, right? He has to order his home, and he orders his home via his wife. If he tells his wife what he would like, how he likes his house to be ordered, but you go, oh no, you're telling me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. You're not my father. You see, again. And then you set about trying to usurp his authority because you're trying to prove a point that you're on the same level as him. You're a man, basically. You're a woman, but you're a man, right? He doesn't like that, right? It means that you're sinning, basically. He hates that kind of thing, and he hates you for doing that, right? So, an heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that swift in running to mischief. So they're kind of intertwined. So suppose the heart that devises wicked imaginations, I suppose that can go into, when you say, if a black man is, you believe a black man may have done something and you say, definitely he did it, right? When you didn't see him do it. Just because he's black, you think, oh, well, that's more than enough of a suspect, right? That kind of thing. He hates that, right? So a false witness. So you say that You saw something, so he hates a false witness too. So if you say that you saw a crime going down and you didn't see it, if you call in the police and saying, this crime is going down, and then when the police officer turns up and he turns a situation from 0 to 100, people get murdered or beaten up, and then what the caller called to say the crime was going down wasn't really a crime at all. They would just be mischievous, right? So a false witness, someone that says that, they were there when something happened and they weren't there, right? Someone that says something bad happened and it didn't happen. Someone that is, someone is lying, right? Saying that, that they were present when something was going down and they weren't, right? So it's a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So if you're going around gossiping on brothers, gossiping on sisters, your whole thing is gossip. Gossip, gossip, gossip. You just want to spread rumors about people that are unsubstantiated. That's gossip, right? My father, keep the father's commandments and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart and tie them about thy neck. So it's just the commandments. So it's saying the commandments that you were taught, right, by your father, don't forsake them, right? And don't forsake your mother, what you've been taught by your mother too, right? And bind them continually upon thine heart. So you got to meditate on those things in your heart. Whatever you learned when you were a child, you got to take those things with you, right? And then about thy neck. So the commandments that you learned from the Bible, the things that you've learned from the Bible, the good works, the good things that you've learned from the Bible, you must take those things with you and put those things in process. So he hates the person, right? So he hates a lying tongue. He hates a proud look. These are all people, right? They may be actions, right? But they're actions that a person is doing, right? He doesn't just hate the actions, because in order to do the actions, there must be the person there, right? There must be a noun there, right? There must be someone doing it. So therefore, obviously, he's going to hate that person for doing it, right? A false witness is the actual person, and who speaketh lies is the action that person does, right? Someone that soweth discord, that's an individual, a group of people that lie as a false witness or sow discord, right? So he hates the people and not just the action, right? So let's go to Proverbs 26 and we're going to read from 11 to 28. Proverbs 26 and we're going to read from 11 to 28. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returned to his folly. So if you came to Christ, the Lord has shown you his gospel, his truth, and he's forgiven you for your sins, you've repented, but then you choose to go back to your lifestyle after a few months, after a couple of years, you say, to hell with it. I want to go back to watching porn. I want to go back to sleeping around. I want to go back to the way life was before, just to get another taste of it, right? It's saying a dog returned to his vomit, so a fool returned to his folly, because you're a fool. Because you return to your old lifestyle thinking, I just want another taste to see what it feels like. And the Lord could trap you up, right? He could set traps for you. And those traps could spell either you get a sexually transmitted disease or you die. You physically die. You're put to death, right? So that's a foolish thing to do. When the Lord has brought you through a particular sin, a particular thing that has been a process to get rid of, you do not, when you feel that your back is against the wall, you say, I'm going to go back to doing what I used to do because it made me feel good, right? You don't do that, right? See it thou a man wise in his own conceit, there is more hope of a fool. So let's read this, all of it, and then we'll come back and dissect it. Right, so 12. See thou a man wise in his own conceit. There is more hope of a fool than of him. The slothful man saith, this is a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets. So that's a lazy man. As a door turneth upon his hinges, so doeth the slothful upon his bed. So he's always in his bed sleeping. The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom. He grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. So he can't even, he can't even, these are the actions that he's doing, right? Because he's so lazy, right? So it says, the slothful hideth his hand in his bosom. It grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render reason. He that passeth by and meddleth with strife, belongeth not to him, is like one that taketh a dog by his ears. As a madman who casteth firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbour, and saith, am not I in sport? So is the man that deceiveth his neighbour, and said, am I not in sport? Where no wood is, there the fire goeth out. So where there is no talebearer, the strife sees it. So a talebearer is a gossiper, right? Someone that spreads rumours about people, right? We're not supposed to go around spread unsubstantiated rumours about people. And strife sees it. So it's saying, where no wood is, there the fire goeth out. So if there's no wood, the fire doesn't, obviously you need wood, you need something to keep the fire going, right? So where there is no talebearer, the strife sees it. So a talebearer causes strife, right? So if you go around spreading rumors, things that are unsubstantiated about other people, it means that you're a talebearer, and that means you are causing strife. The words of the talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Burning lips and wicked heart are like a potsherd covered with silver dross. He that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit within him. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, but there are 7 abominations in his heart. So these abominations, I suppose they're in reference to the 7 hates, right, that we just read. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. And he that rolleth stone, and he that covered deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him. So that means you're setting up traps on yourself. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. So these are things that we're not supposed to do, right? And these are sinful things, and the result of these sinful things are judgment that comes upon us, because if we engage in these abominations, these 7 abominations, then the Lord will judge you, because he calls them abominations, right? Abominations is the worst type of sin, right? So it all seeps into him hating the sin and hating the sinner. Now, let's go to Psalms 5. Let's go to Psalms 5, and we're going to read from 4 to 6. So what we're going to do, we got a series of scriptures, short scriptures. So I'm just going to nail them all and then close. So Psalms 5, and we're going to read from 4 to 6. For thou art not a God that heart pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight, but thou hated all workers of iniquity. So the Bible is saying the Lord hates all workers of iniquity. So it's not just talking about the sin, he's talking about those people that do sinful things. Right? So let's read that again. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight, for thou hatest all workers of iniquity. So if you are a worker of iniquity, especially the type of sin whereby you're causing other people to sin, right? It means that he hates you. He hates you as he hates the sin. 6. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing the Lord with a poor, the bloody and deceitful man. So let's read 4 again. For thou art not a God that heart pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. 5. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing the Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. So he's saying, thou shalt destroy them. So the Lord will destroy sinners, right? Workers of iniquity, those people that go around just sinning, and irrespective of the consequences of their sin or who they hurt with their sin. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. So the bloody goes into a murderous person, someone who's murderer, right? So he hates murderers and he hates deceitful men, right? So men that go around, deceiving other people, causing other people to sin, causing other people to slip, and he can't stand those type of people, right? That seeps into his 6 or 7 hates, right? Or 7 abominations, as the Bible calls it. Right, so let's go to Psalms 11, and we're going to read from 4 to 7. So we read in Psalms 11, and we read from 4 to 7. The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold his eyelids. Try the children of men. Children of men. Let's carry on. The Lord trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hated. Right, so he hates the sinner as much as he hates the sin. So the Lord is saying, he trieth the righteous. The righteous goes into Israelites that are righteous. But the wicked and him that loveth violence. So if you're wicked, irrespective of who you are, what nation you are, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hated. So he hates people that go around beating people up for no reason, right? Because you're not supposed to do that. Now, obviously in the New Testament, it tells you that if it be possible, live in peace with all mankind. So that's what we're all supposed to do, right? So, but the Lord hates people that go around causing physical fights, right? The Lord tried the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hated. He hates violent people. People who are hot-headed and are quick to start a fight and quick to punch you in the face, beat you up and kill you. He hates such a person. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cap. So it's going into natural disasters. It's going into Third World War. It's going into the end of the world. All the things, all the upheavals that happen at the end of the world, right? Because it says, shall rain snares, fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone goes to when the current world ends, because that's how it's going to end, with fire and brimstone, right? Fire and brimstone. And a horrible tempest. So tempest goes into a storm, something, a natural disaster. And this shall be the portion of their cup. For the righteous Lord loveth righteousness, his countenance doeth behold the upright. So the Lord, the Most High, is into righteousness. He loves righteousness. He loves Israel. Israel is supposed to be righteous, represent righteousness. Love it, righteousness, his countenance doeth behold the upright. So he is always with those that are into being upright, right? So Psalm 7, and we're going to read 11. Psalm 7, we're going to read 11. God judgeth the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day. So he judges the righteous. So just because you love the Lord and you're on the right side of the Lord, he still judges you, right? He still judges you to make sure that you're staying on the straight and narrow. And God is angry with the wicked every day. He's angry with the wicked, those people that reject him, those people that don't know him, don't want to know him. He's angry with the wicked. Obviously, he shows himself to Israel. So he's primarily talking about, well, he's talking about the nations too, but he's primarily talking about the wicked of Israel, right? Those wicked of Israel and also wicked of the nations too, right? So he's angry with the wicked every day. Those people that continually do evil, wicked things. So let's now go to Hosea 7. So we're going to go to Hosea 7. And we are now going to, so we're still dealing with the Lord hates the sinner and the sin, right? He doesn't just hate the sin, he hates the sinner too, right? And a lot of people, they believe in a nicey God who's always nicey like Father Christmas, right? Regardless of how wicked you are, he's still going to bless you and bless you big, right? He's still going to have mercy upon you because, because you're you, right? That's what the Christian church believes in. The Christian church believes once saved, always saved, because that's what they all say. They all say, "What? Since I've been saved, I'm saved. I'm always saved. You're saved. I'm saved. Since I've been saved," right? And nobody's saved yet because Christ hasn't come down with the holy angels to actually rise his people up, to resurrect his people and to rise his people that are living, right? He's not come back to do that yet. So nobody's really saved yet, right? So it all seeps into that, right? But the Lord continually judges us, and his heart is with the righteous and not with the wicked, right? So let's go to Hosea 7, and we're going to read all of it because this goes into his, I suppose you can call this hate. His hate, because he discarded the northern kingdom Israelites. He discarded them because he hated them. He hated their sin and he hated them. So I'm going to read this fast. So it's Hosea 7, reading from 1 to 16. When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and wickedness of Samaria. For they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoil it without. And they consider not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face, they make the king glad, and their wickedness and the princes with their lies. They are all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker. So the Lord is saying they're all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker, who sees it from rising after he had kneaded the dough, until it be leavened. In the day of our king, the princes have made him sick with bottles of wine. He stretched out his hand with scorchers, for they have made ready their heart like an oven while they lie in wait. Their baker sleepeth all the night, in the morning it burneth as a flaming fire. They are all hot as an oven, and have devoured their judges. All their kings are fallen. There is none among them that calleth upon me. Ephraim, he had mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Right? That goes into doctrine. The Gentile nations have come in, dominated Ephraim with their gods, with their culture, and then Ephraim has taken themselves away from the Most High. So that's what he's getting into, right? So Ephraim, he had mixed himself among the people. He's mixed himself among the heathen. Ephraim is a cake not turned. He's not turned. He hasn't turned back to God, right? He's into idolatrous practices, right? He's worshipping other god and following the nation's customs. So that's what that's going into. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, grey hairs are here and there upon him, yet he know it not. Right? So they've come in and they've affected him. They've taken him away from righteousness, from being on the way of the Most High, and they've spoilt him, basically. Right, they've come infiltrated, and their hearts have now been taken away with those gods, and they're way deep into those idolatrous practices. So that's what the Lord is really saying there. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, grey hairs are here and there upon him, yet he know it not. And the strength goes into their God. Our power is the Most High Yahweh. Right, so basically those strangers have come in and taken away their power, which is God. And the pride of Israel testified to his face, and they do not return to the Lord their God, nor seek him for all of this. So the return goes into not being turned, right? They're not being turned. Ephraim also is like a silly dove. Without heart they call to Egypt. They go to Assyria. When they shall go, I will spread my net upon them. I will bring them down as the fowls of the heaven. I will chastise them as their congregation hath heard. Woe unto them, for they have fled from me. Destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me. And they have not cried upon me with their heart. When they howled upon their beds, they assemble themselves for corn and wine, and they rebel against me. Though I have bound and strengthened their arms, yet do they imagine mischief against me. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword, for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. Right? So basically, Ephraim was put out of the land of Israel by the Most High, and they were taken away into bondage, right, by the Assyrians. So that's what that is going into, right? So it's telling you in 11, it says, Ephraim is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt. Egypt goes into bondage, slavery. They go to Assyria, right? So they want to go back into slavery. So that's what that's going into. So let's read 16. And they return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword, for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. So they've returned to Egypt, right? They've returned to bondage, because it was the first, the captivity with the Assyrians was the first captivity since the Egyptians, since being in captivity with the Egyptians for 430 years, right? So that's why the Lord is saying they return, right? And he also says, this shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. Okay, right. So what we're going to do is we're now going to go to Hosea 9. Still got quite a few scriptures to get to. And we're going to read 15 to 7. All their wickedness is Gilgal, for there I hated them. So again, this goes into hate. The Lord hated Ephraim. So that's the northern kingdom. It's the house of Ephraim. That's the northern kingdom Israelites, or the 10 tribes. The Lord is saying, I hated them for wickedness of their doings, and I would drive them out of mine house, and I would love them no more. All their princes are revolters. Ephraim is smitten, their root is dried up, they shall bear no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay, even the beloved fruit of their womb, right? So the Lord is saying, I hated Ephraim, right? So the Lord hates people as much as the sin, right? So let's go to Malachi 1. So let's go to Malachi 1, and we're going to read from 1 to 5. So it's Hosea 9:17. My God will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations. So the Most High cast off Ephraim, which is the house of Ephraim, which is the 10 tribes, the northern kingdom, and put them back into slavery, but this time with the Assyrians, right? They went into slavery. The Most High cast them away. Now that's hatred, right? But it's a righteous anger. The Most High had a righteous anger, and he punished Ephraim. He got fed up with Ephraim, and he punished them. He said, my God will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him. Ephraim did not hearken unto the Most High. They went and committed adultery, fornication with the other gods, and they did not turn back. And they shall be wanderers among the nations. So they were cast away among the nations. That was hatred. You see, the Lord doesn't just hate the sin. He hates the people that do the sin. Those that continually work iniquity. Right? So the Lord is saying, I hated Ephraim. Right? So the Lord hates people as much as the sin. Right? So let's go to Malachi 1. Okay, so let's go to Malachi 1, and we're going to read from 1 to 5. So this is another hate for people, right? The burden of the word, burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. So Malachi was a prophet, right? And he prophesied to Israel. I have loved you, said the Lord, yet we say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, said the Lord, yet I loved Jacob. Right? And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Right? So so he's saying straight up, I hated Esau. Right? He hated Esau from birth. Right? He never liked Esau. Right? For whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. So that goes into the the Renaissance. Right? During the Dark Ages, the Edomites were in the Caucasus Mountains of Russia, right? So that's what it's going into. So it's saying that they will return and build the desolate places. They will rebuild during the Renaissance. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I shall throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord held indignation forever. So their hatred, the Lord's hatred for these people is forever, right? And he's saying whatever they build won't last forever, right? So let's continue. And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel. So he's magnified from the border of Israel, because Israel is meant to represent righteousness. And the Lord is always on the side of righteousness. And he hates wickedness, right? And he hated Esau, right? And his indignation is forever, right? That's how much hatred the Most High has for Esau. So let's now go to Hebrews 12. We're going to go to Hebrews 12. I'm going to read from 16 to 17. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So basically, there's no repentance for Esau, because the Most High says that his indignation for Esau is forever. His anger is forever. Right? So again, that seeps into the hatred that the Most High has, right? It's the hatred for Esau and him choosing Jacob over Esau. Right, so let's now go to Romans 9:13. Let's go to Romans 9:13. Now I'm going to labor the point too much. I just want to bring out a few verses where the Lord is saying that he hates. So we read in Romans 9:13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Again, that's hatred in the Bible for Esau. Okay, so let's give a flip side to this, because the Lord just doesn't only hate Esau. The Lord hates sinners in general, people that do iniquity, evil doers, people that murder, rape, people that are trapped in the Christian church and they will not accept the truth, people who refuse to accept Christ, those Israelites that keep putting people under Moses, all of those things the Lord despises, right? And if you continually do those things and you don't repent, the Lord hates your guts, because his anger, he said, he gets angry every single day with such people. So that anger goes into hatred after a while. And that's exactly what happened to Jacob, right? So it's all fine and dandy talking about everybody else being hated, but what about Jacob? Let's read about Jacob. So let's read Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to read from 15 to 20. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuking all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. So this is the curses that came upon Israel, right? Those curses followed Israel for thousands of years, right? So that was a result of the Lord not only hating the sin, but the sinner that did these sinful things. And the Lord didn't hesitate to put the whole nation of Israel into captivity and into colonialism. He didn't hesitate to put the whole nation of Israel under punishment in slavery. And that is hatred, right? That is the Lord's anger on the nation of Israel. Now, his anger is not going to last forever. Certainly didn't last forever when Christ came, because he sent Christ to fulfill the law that Israel couldn't do. But however, it still shows the Most High's anger. And if you keep pushing the Most High, it goes into hatred. And when it goes into hatred, he casts you away. He casts you off. And sometimes it's for good, and sometimes it's temporary. Okay, so let's now go to Revelations 20, and we're reading 15. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So if in the second judgment, which is the final judgment, the penultimate judgment, after the 1,000 years reign, the Bible says, whoso was not written in the book of life will be casted into the lake of fire. So that goes into the eternal damnation, which is hell, right? That goes into hell. And for the Lord to cast someone into eternal damnation, he has to really hate them, right? So it's not just the sin he hates the individual as well. So let's go to Revelations 21, reading from 6 to 8. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, but I will be his God, and he shall be my son. Right? So he's speaking to Israel, right? 8, but the fearful and unbelieving. So if you're fearful, right, and unbelieving, you fear, oh, I don't want to get involved with that Bible stuff. You know, those people are just zombies. You know, they're just freaky people. They're just zombies. I don't, you know, I enjoy my life. You know, they're just like freaks, right? Freak of natures, right? Right? You just fear because you scare that other people are going to see that you've changed your life and you love the Bible, you love the Lord, and you don't want to look odd in your group, in your gang, with your amongst your family members or your colleagues. But the fearful and unbelieving, so those people that are fearful and don't want to believe, and the abominable. So if you're abominable, you eat abominable things and you do abominable works, right? And murderers. So if you're a murderer, you take your hand to kill innocent flesh. You commit abortion. Some people have multiple abortions. Some people have 2, 3 abortions, right? And they feel nothing about it, right? Abortion is murder because you're actually killing a life that could have grown and be an upstanding individual, right? A holy individual, a righteous individual, a righteous seed here on this earth, but you killed it, right? So the Lord sees you as being a murderer. And of course, if you kill someone and it wasn't self-defense, it makes you a murderer, right? Because you're not supposed to kill anybody, regardless of race or regardless of sex. You really should be avoiding at all costs killing people. Even if someone comes to you with a gun, you should try and think of ways. I mean, obviously, you know, you're in the moment, right? And it's life or death, and it could be a split second. So obviously you're going to make a split second decision, right? But you should try as much as possible to alleviate that situation and not cause any death. And whoremonger, so if you're a whoremonger and you're a whore, you like going from bed to bed to bed to bed. A whoremonger is a man, right? You like going to bed to bed to bed. You will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And sorcerers, those people that do sorcery in music, sorcery in pop culture, etc., or witchcraft. And idolaters, those people that worship other gods. And all liars. So all liars, you know, if you lying on the Bible, lying on other people, you're causing a ruckus, an upheaval, you know, as what we discussed before. The Lord doesn't like that. And if you lie on the scriptures, that's the worst type of lying, because now it goes into blasphemy, because you're deliberately lying on the Bible, which is that's blasphemy, right? It goes into blasphemy. And all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So this is the lake of fire that is mentioned in verse number 15, right? So it's the eternal damnation, and that's real hatred, right? That's real hatred. So let's go to Psalms 37. So we're going to close with Psalms 37, and we're going to read from 1 to 13. So we read in Psalms 37, and we're going to read from 1 to 13. Trust in the Lord, and do good, as shall thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed, right? So if you trust in the Lord, eventually you will dwell in the land of Israel, right? Zion. And verily thou shalt be fed. So you'll be taken care of by God. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. So if you If you delight yourself in the Lord, you love these holy scriptures, you love the Bible, always in the Bible, always studying something new, always sharing something, always, you're doing things for the Lord. You're going on the streets, you're preaching, you're helping your brothers and sisters, you're giving them the word of God, that kind of thing. You're studying to make yourself better so that you can share with your brothers and sisters, your family members. If you delight yourself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. So whatever you desire in your heart, he will most likely be inclined to give it to you, because he loves what he can rely on you. He can trust you because he has your ear. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. So you rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Rest in the Lord, wait patiently for him. So you got to wait on the Lord. Whatever you're praying for, you got to wait on the Lord. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. So don't look at other people that prospers, right? Because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass, because they could be involved in wickedness, right? And the devil's just cursing them, but they think it's a blessing from God, but it's not. It's a curse from the devil. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. So you got to wait. You got to have patience. For yet a little while the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth. So that's Israel. And shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So there will be peace once Israel inherits the earth. The wicked plotted against the just, and garnished upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. So the wicked goes into the other nations, right? It goes into the other nations. It spills into the other nations. It could also mean wicked Israelites, but it spills into the other nations, because it says the wicked plotted against the just. The just goes into Israel, righteousness, and garnished upon him with his teeth. He doesn't like Israel. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. His day is coming, right? When Christ will return, he will make everything go in their rightful and proper righteous place. So the Lord hates the sin and hates the sinner. Brothers and sisters, I hope you are edified. Shalom.